Hi guys, I just wanted to do I really did want to do a reaction video to Fear the Walking Dead, but especially since I was 2 episodes behind, but again I'm still having technical difficulties, so I'm just gotta do a straight up review of episodes 11 and 12, La Serpiente and Brothers Keeper. So Baston, Strand, and Walker, they drive to the dam in the water tanker, and they have this really cool scene where I don't know what he was using, but I guess like Cole. Actually, I think it was explained by the actor who played Strand, Coleman Domingo on Talking Dead, how he used essentially a car alarm to distract the zombies, so they didn't have to like drive through the whole. They didn't have to drive their way through the horde. And upon reaching the dam, they had to actually go through a sewer that was hidden under a Volkswagen Bug, and they're like crawling through the sewer, and they have this like really cool scene where, Madison and Strand they end up encountering a walker while crawling through the sewers, and Madison has taken action, is cut the head off of the zombie and cut his arms off and all the different limbs just to get through the sewer. Once they get there, they encounter Daniel, and Madison reveals to him that Ophelia is still alive, and she's at the ranch, at the Broke Jaw Ranch with Walker's people. And Madison wants to speak to Lola because she knows she had, because of the dam, and she has all this water, like like entire lake, and it has plenty of water to last more than the amount of water they have at Broke Jaw to get through the summer. And she tries to say like, okay, you give us all this water, we'll give you cattle and weapons, but Lola refuses, and because of Walker gets pissed off and feels like Madison's wasted your time, and or I guess he just feels like their chances of getting more water has been blown, so he's had plans to kick them off the ranch and kick her off the ranch, and also kick Nick and Alicia off the ranch as well. And he decides to get back there by foot. And Strand, tries to, I guess they have like a repertoire with Walker, but that falls through, and Daniel believes that the angry mob is going to come back to overtake the dam, and Daniel eventually speaks with Walker, who thanks her for saving Ophelia, but he doesn't really want Ophelia to know that he's still alive. He just feels like it's better off that way. And Walker kind of stretches the truth by saying like Ophelia was a soldier and how she is responsible for the anthrax at the Broke Jaw Ranch. Even though he leaves out the part where it's like she had no idea that she was spreading anthrax and she was basically being used as a Trojan horse by Walker. And as they prepare to leave, like a water tank explodes and it blows out a part of the gate, and the infected begin to pour in, and they're able to kill the infected and fix the gate, and the angry mob can hear them and approach the dam. And because of what happened, Lola agrees to give them the 10,000 gallons of water. And so Strand reveals that Madison that he rigged the explosion, and they do kind of have a heart to heart, and you kind of realize they become kind of closer friends, and hey, what would you want? What do you want more than anything? If it wasn't just for just stop thinking about what you want for your kids, and what would you want? And she would talk about she wanted to the life she had back in the 80s, where she had like a perm, would go into concerts, and was more carefree, which is kind of like a nice moment between the two. And it humanizes Strand, even though Strand is kind of like a little bit weaselly, and it's still kind of like I think the friendship with him Madison kind of humanizes him, and now it's like he's using his silver tongue, as they would say it, for less selfish purposes, which I think is kind of cool. And but the thing is that back at the ranch, back close to the ranch, Troy's been exiled, and now he's gone so far at the deep end that now he's been responsible for leading a horde of zombies towards Brokejaw in order to wipe and kill everybody out as revenge for um, basically being exiled. And um, he goes back to the ranch to warn Nick about it, just because they've had this kind of kinship, and Nick seems to kind of have this kind of like sympathy for him, or like like kinship with him, just because of the fact that they're both kind of just like damaged people and kind of self-destructive. And even I think even like Alicia points that out when Nick discloses that Nick tried to come back to warn them to, and then Nick tells Alicia that Troy came back to tell them what's happening. And basically Jake and Alicia kind of have this exchange in which he starts to question whether or not, if Alicia truly loves her, or if he was just doing it just for survival's sake, whether it really was just an alliance. And Alicia tries to say that she really did care about him. And given she's being like the most level-headed of the, again, this franchise that if you're too straight-laced, then you're going to be a victim of, you basically want to survive in the zombie apocalypse, which is what happened with Travis, and which unfortunately happens to Jake later on. Even though I think the former's death was pretty much bullshit, because he was really starting to show some backbone at the end of season 2, beginning of season 3, with the death of his son. And he finally started to realize what kind of world he was living in, and just how far gone it was. But sidebar. Anyway, so Jake and Nick go out looking for Troy. They find out what he's actually doing, and in spite of Troy trying to like drive a wedge between Nick and Jake by having Nick confess that he was responsible for their dad's death, he's still disgusted and pissed off. Jake is still so disgusted and pissed off with Troy that he's still willing to put a bullet in his head for trying to kill everybody at the ranch by leading the horde there. But Nick tries to convince him, like, you'll never be able to live for yourself if you kill your own brother. And so that's why he hits Jake over the head. He hits Jake over the head, and he falls. He rolls down the hill and ends up getting bitten by the infected. And even though Troy and Nick try to cut off Jake's arm to stop the infection from spreading, he still ultimately ends up becoming a zombie, in which Troy is forced to kill him. And Troy says that he never meant for Jake to be a casualty, wiping out everybody out Brokejaw. And he asks Nick to kill him, and just kicks the gun over to himself, and he says, do it yourself. You can either do, and he's like, why don't you just stop feeling sorry for yourself, and let's just clean up the mess that you made and try to save everybody else. Nick had already luckily warned Alicia via walkie-talkie that the horde was coming, and so Alicia, Ophelia, and everybody at the rest of Walker's people were able to try to set up a blockade with RVs, hoping the walkers would pass by. They didn't, but they were able to at least slow the horde down enough that, they were forced to kill another member of somebody else who was helping defend the ranch, named Coop, who was being gnawed on by walkers and tried to kill himself just so he had a quick death, but his gun was empty, and so Alicia shot him in the head with her own machine gun just as a mercy killing. But eventually, all the walkers got through the blockade, but it was still kind of cool to see Alicia and Ophelia fighting them off as they were able to try to get everybody down into the bunker where they had all the guns and supplies, as the horde overran the ranch, but the it's been completely overrun, and now Nick is now has to like get Troy to help like fix his mess, and now and now everybody else is trapped in that cellar and that underground pantry with guns, food, and supplies because. And now they have to find a way to, I guess, like survive and find their way out, essentially. But I mean, it's kind of not surprising because it seems like at one point or another, any civilization, any like little civilization in the Walking Dead universe seems to either be overrun or just goes to shit. Like you can't stay in one place for too long. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't hate Jake, but like I said, he was kind of a bit of like too straight laced, and I'm not totally. I mean, I was shocked, but I guess like in hindsight, I'm not totally surprised he was killed because, like I said, like the less more like I said, we don't have any shades of gray in the Walking Dead universe trying to survive a zombie apocalypse, the less likely you are to survive because you kind of need to be kind of have this like survival instinct, sense of ruthlessness to, and be a little more like compromised in order to get through it. But I don't know. I've been personally been wanting Troy to get a bullet in his brain since he was first introduced. Just because he's such, just because he's this like. I get the trying. I mean, I get what they're trying to do with this whole like friendship with Nick because Nick's an addict and so he's the one who's bounced from one addiction to another, from drugs to now killing. It seems like. But I just feel like Troy is such a depraved sociopath, and just kind of beyond saving that. I'm just kind of just like I'm kind of disappointed that basically that Madison to put a bullet in his brain like a few episodes back, but it is what it is. Maybe we'll have it in the end of the season. Who knows? I'm looking forward to seeing how what will happen when Madison and company get back to the ranch and what they find. Will they be able to, how many people will survive the horde overrunning the ranch, and we have to go to another civilization, and I mean, the possibilities just feel like kind of endless at this point. I'm just looking forward to seeing what it goes through what happens through the next like 4 episodes, basically. So those are my thoughts on it. Is there anything I left out? What was your favorite parts of the last 2 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.